The Carl Williams murder trial might be over, but many important questions about the case remain unanswered. Matthew Johnson has been convicted of murdering the gangland killer, but Victorians are still in the dark as to how our highest profile prisoner could be bashed to death in the state's most secure prison without anyone noticing. It's a situation that haunts Victoria Police, undermines confidence in our criminal justice system and continues to fuel speculation that corruption is rife within the prison system. The Corrections Commissioner Bob Hastings fronted a media conference this morning. Why did it take so long for prison guards to find Carl Williams?
I think that's a fundamental question for the coroner, and at this stage the coroner will obviously look at that aspect in terms of any cause of death and contributing findings or contributing issues around that, and I think that's appropriate for the coroner to determine that.
But we heard in court during the Matthew Johnson trial that guards failed to notice both the killing, the removal of the body, the covering of the blood, and then for a further half an hour. So Corrections Victoria has done its own investigations into that. Can you explain why the delay?
Again, in terms of specifics, I'm not prepared to go into that given the coronial inquiry, and I think it's fair that the coroner will turn his mind to those sorts of issues. What I can say is what I've just said, that we've reviewed a number of our practices and policies, we've strengthened our intelligence, we've looked at security issues and the way we manage the system. But that is ongoing business, as it always has been and will continue to be.
So do you admit Corrections Victoria has made mistakes in the handling of Carl Williams?
Corrections Victoria has done what it saw was the best thing to do in the interests of Carl Williams. Now that is obviously any death in custody is unacceptable and is a tragedy, but nonetheless we have complex people in a challenging environment and we've handled that the best way we can.
With hindsight, what would you have done differently?
I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. What we've done though is looked at this incident and we've taken on board some of the things that have come out of a number of investigations, and we've moved forward in strengthening our way of managing these people in terms of the intelligence processes, our policy around high security offenders. We've looked at other jurisdictions and regimes, and we've done a whole host of works within that environment to manage these people going forward.
Have you found any evidence of corruption or negligence on behalf of prison guards?
Nothing has been brought to my attention around corruption of prison guards, and as I've said before, if it is brought to my attention that we have corrupt people, I will get rid of them.
Matthew Johnson said in the trial that you just needed the right prison guard to pass on information within the jail. For example, the statements Carl Williams made to police passed on to Tony Mockbell. Do you know what prison guards he's talking about?
No, I don't.
Do you believe that he's telling the truth?
I don't know. I mean, Matthew Johnson made that statement, and again, I'm not prepared to go speculate around that. I think they're the sorts of issues that will come out of any coronial inquiry.
Was it a mistake to place Carl Williams with Matthew Johnson and Tommy Ivanovic?
Any placement is well considered. We take on board the assessments that we have, the intelligence that we have, the information that's provided by Victoria Police around these sorts of issues. We consider all of those things, who they can associate, who they're comfortable in associating with, and a decision is made in terms of their placement. And as I said, these are complex people in a highly charged environment.
But in hindsight, was it on the day that Carl Williams featured on the front page of the Herald Sun, outing him as a police informer, why wasn't he placed in solitary confinement on that day?
Again, I'm not going to go down there. I think
Why not?
Well, I think they're issues that are rightly determined in a coronial inquest.
So nobody from Corrections Victoria from within the prison will ever be held accountable for this particular death? You're saying no one is to blame?
Again, that is appropriate for the coroner's inquiry to contribute those sorts, consider those sorts of issues.
What's your opinion though? Is anyone
to
blame?
Again, I don't want to go there and speculate. I think that's a matter that will be determined in the coronial inquiry.